We are going live. We are live.
And we back. We back. Yo, Lies, yo. I think we missing somebody, bro.
We are, man. We just after making his comeback from his Sabbath, Josh is out again. It's okay. There's grace here. Sinners Only podcast. But my man's just tired, so we it's all good. But he'll be back next week.
Yo,
Well,
Josh
actually,
the D Rose of podcasting, bro.
hey
The
yo,
greatest of
I'm
all time, but like
dead.
just keep leaving, bro.
Yo, we like literally like our theology be on point when he's here, and we don't know where we're taking y'all tonight. So,
Word. Yo, all I'm saying is though, bro. All I'm saying is this man really humble, bro. This man is one of the best seminaries in the world, bro. He
yo,
he, he don't want y'all to know that, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
chill. Like I might start spitting some wacky theology, bro. I can't let them know who I'm associated with.
Yo,
It's like
all
nah,
I'm saying is this man graduated his bachelor's at a top university, bro. Yeah, that's all y'all need to know, bro.
bro. We chilling out here. It's more about you, bro. You better than me. You know what I mean? Like
Nah, bro.
I'm trying to learn from you, Doug.
That's why we both try to learn from Josh, bro.
Yo, literally.
Yo, how was your weekend, bro?
Weekend was good, man. Really restful. Got to see Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I don't know if you saw it yet, but
Not as yet, bro. This week, I'm going in this week.
say no more. But honestly, a good movie. Definitely it was having all the emotions and feels just from Chadwick, passing and stuff. So literally, I think they definitely capitalized on it and just like brought it into the movie. And literally, you could see all the emotions. And yo, bro, when you watch the movie, dog, you're going to be like, it's gonna be crazy. Like literally, I didn't cry. I thought I was gonna cry during this movie. Like I think my wife was like hoping that I would cry during the movie. I didn't, but I was definitely feeling emotional just because there was so much in the movie that you're gonna be like, yo, this is wild. But overall, good movie, 8 out of 10 for sure. We here,
8 out of 10. Yo, everybody I heard say it was 10 out of 10, bro. 8 out of 10.
they're lying. They're lying to you, bro. Like they like if it could have been a 10 out of 10, but there were just some elements that I think you're going to see. They're going to be like, okay, bet this is probably like an 8. Maybe giving it an 8.5 to a 9, but it's not. It's not a 10. It's
Yeah.
like Infinity War is a 10.
Mm.
Endgame is probably a 9.5. Black
Oh,
Panther,
so
like,
it's close to that 10 then. It's
it's
close to
it's
that 10.
really it's really close. I think for the sake of this the culture moment, the momentum from Chadwick's death, and just everything that people are speculating going into the movie, I think that's what makes it probably an 8.5 to a 9, but not a 10. If anyone says it's a 10, they're capping.
Wait, so is it better than the last movie?
Then the first one,
Yeah.
mm, no,
It's not. It's not. Okay.
not
Okay.
at all.
I don't know, yo. I like the original Black Panther. It wasn't my favorite movie in the MCU. Probably because it's kind of like I guess disconnected. Really, I mean, I guess Black Panther was a little connected to Civil War, Captain America
Mm,
Civil War, maybe. But I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like standalone in terms of like the overarching story. So I'm actually really interested in seeing how that plays into all of the new Marvel stuff. That was kind of like my like with Moon Knight, right? Like Moon Knight I felt like was so disconnected from the overarching story, but I feel like they're finding a way to bring it in. And
yeah.
now knowing what I know about Moon Knight, it kind of brought in Black Panther into a new realm where it's like loosely tied into the MCU, like no strongly tied, but like in the background. So I'm
Yeah.
interested to see how that after Moon Knight, because Moon Knight came out earlier this year, so I
Mhm.
want to see like if there's any symbolism, connects Moon Knight to that show. But honestly, I'm excited, bro. I really I liked it. I shouldn't say I did. I didn't really like. I liked the first one. I enjoyed watching it. It wasn't again. It wasn't. I wouldn't say the first one wasn't my first like my top five, but I liked it still.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how the sequel is, bro. Because it's still the first one was still a solid movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, how was your weekend?
Bro, it was a long weekend. It was great. Honestly, I can't even tell you what I did Friday, bro. Oh yeah. I was just
That
telling
man
you what I.
got lit.
Yeah,
Yo,
no, no,
Sinners
no,
Only
no.
play-
Yo, this Friday, bro. Yo, I bought the new Modern Warfare 2, bro. Like,
Oh
I just,
man.
that junk came out. I think the end of October, but I was like, I'm gonna wait till Black Friday. I'm gonna buy this and that and everything at once. But bro, I just kept seeing clips of people hitting some insane clips in the game, and I'm like, bro, this looks like a really good Call of Duty, because I haven't bought Call of Duty in years, right? I haven't bought Call of Duty
Yeah.
since maybe 2019, right? 2019 was the last Call of Duty I bought. Well, actually, 2020 was the last Call of Duty I bought, but I only played it like for 10 minutes and didn't play it again. So this one was a sequel to the reboot in 2019. And I was like, you know what? That was a good Call of Duty. I'll buy the sequel. And with a name like Modern Warfare 2, I have hours and days played on the original Modern Warfare 2 back in the day, right? When I was in like middle school.
Yeah.
But I was like, with a name like that, the original Modern Warfare 2 is my favorite game of all time. So I was like, I just gotta get it. So I was like, forget the paycheck, forget everything, forget finance, for responsible. Bro, I just swiped the credit card. I was like,
Yo,
yo.
that's so funny. Just like just forget adulthood and debt, bro. Like we just just swipe the credit card. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
forget my boy Dave Ramsey out here, bro.
Yo,
I don't want to hear none of
he's
that,
shaking
bro.
his head right now.
Yo, hashtag this is not financial advice, bro. Disclaimer,
But if
But
you want to have fun though,
yeah, nah,
that's where
bro.
you gotta go.
Yo, bro. I thought I was gonna be disappointed because for the last 10 years, maybe like 3 Call of Duties have been good, right? Well, no, last 7 years, like 3 Call of Duties have been good, 2 maybe, right?
Yeah.
So I was really looking forward to being disappointed, and I hopped on that, John, bro. The first game I played, I was like, wow. Second game, I was like, all right, wow. Third game I played, I was like, yo, this might actually be good. By the fourth game, I was like, yo, I was hooked, bro. I was like, nah, this is a good game, bro. This is a really good game.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, no, I got that on Friday. And then I played that Friday, whatnot. We watched Manifest. We finished off Manifest season 4, part 1. Great show, bro. Great show.
What is that show?
It's a show about a plane that disappears.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I know that show.
Bro, all I'm saying is, bro, I'm gonna have some news later on, bro. But we gonna keep that on wraps, bro.
Say no more.
But on all, that show was good, bro. That show was good, bro. It was a great show. If you guys ever get a chance, bro, definitely watch that, bro. And then yeah, bro, today yesterday was my wife's birthday, so we went out. I cooked her some brunch. We went out last night with some friends. Had some food and whatnot, hung out and danced and whatnot, and it was really good, bro. That's kind of why I'm tired right now, because we got home at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then had to, get ready to go to sleep, get up for church at like 8:45. I got up this morning. I went to sleep at like 4, got up at 8:45. Felt like I was in college again, honestly, with that no sleep.
Bro, you're a committed man, especially going to church, bro.
Nah, I had to, bro. My one of our good friends, her mom actually got baptized today. So
oh shoot, congratulations.
Yeah, bro. It was a great moment, bro. To hear her testimony and everything, man. It was good. So yeah, I got up, went there, and then came back home, and it was my mom's birthday, so we went over to my parents' house, hung out, and then my family surprised her. So we actually just got back right now, actually. So
Sheesh.
It's been a full weekend, bro.
This is Chad's commitment. He is like has so much going on, and still they would make it on the pod. Let's get it.
Yo, you know who I saw this weekend too, bro?
Who?
Yo, Grace, bro. She stayed the weekend over here, yo.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah. Christine invited her over. She spent the weekend, so it was a good time. We saw Josh yesterday. We saw Grace. We saw all everybody, bro. It was a great time, bro. It was a great time. Yesterday.
Wow. Yo, look at that, bro.
Yeah,
he's still somehow alive. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro. I'm tired, bro. I'm sleepy, bro. But nah, bro. Honestly, bro. Yo, it's a topic, bro. It's a topic we gotta talk about today, bro.
Let's get it.
We definitely got a good talk.
So what are we talking about today?
so yeah, man. So earlier this week, well, I guess last week now, because it's Sunday. But Elijah posted a clip on his story talking about how men, it's not women that are the issue, right? With men lusting and whatnot, right? It's the men following their urges, and they seek out that type of destruction for themselves, right? In terms of like lust and just falling into that type of sin, right? So men, it's not that it's women causing that, but it's that men are seeking that out, right? And it just reminded me of a conversation I had earlier this week, that it seems like society is almost moving backwards. And what I mean by that is like, it just seems like we're so intense in this day and age that everything is just become so novel and so unique to the point where it's like I don't actually even know what's right and what's wrong in society anymore. And it's like, is this actually progressing us forward or is
Mm,
this bringing us backward? You know, that's kind
yeah.
of where the conversation was going with my cousin because he's not really a believer or he's in a seeker phase right now.
Okay.
Um, and he, you know, he's talking to me. He's like, how could it just seems like all this division in society and all these different values and stuff like that, it just seems like the devil is at the head of all of this or somebody's at the head of all of this causing the evil. He's like, to me, if there is a God, he's like, to me, if there's a God, it seems like the God would be very ordered and that anything that's not order and it's just complete liberation of everything is not of God. And it seems like society is moving towards that. And he says it feels like there's somebody that's causing this to happen. He's like, it seems like somebody wants to distract everybody from the truth that there is a God. And I was like
Mm.
blown away when he said that. I was like, well, I got some news for you. I got some news for
Yeah,
you.
that's yeah, that's a gospel imitation on a platter right there, bro. Like that's so crazy.
Yeah, bro. So it was an incredible conversation, bro. My cousin had some really good things to say, bro, and I really appreciated the conversation a lot. Um, and yeah, man, it was just like some things because we were talking about like the distractions that you see in society, right? Like some people have different vices and stuff, and he was saying that it just seems like all of our vices just seem to distract people from God. And then
Mm,
we started talking about like the manosphere, like how we've talked about previously in
yeah,
society and I mean on the podcast and you know he seems like he's like it just seems like all this stuff it's like low quality content that's just used to just entertain people but distract them from the truth. He's like, you know, and I thought about it, I was like, some of this manosphere stuff, some of it is decent content, right? Some but majority of it, it's like they get so close to it and then miss the point, right? They're just too
yeah,
extreme. And it's like that's exactly what it is. It's like they want to go so extreme to the point where they just say anything and it's so close to being actually valid, but it's like you take it an extra step too far for content.
yeah.
And same thing on the extreme opposite, but I'm not even going to mention that before I get canceled and everything. So let's just let me just stop that right there. But that's where the conversation is, you know?
Bro, I think what's interesting about you saying that the manosphere kind of just gets so close, yet they get close to the truth, but then they're so extreme where it's just like, where are you getting that from? I think it's interesting that they do that because it's like, is it? I think it's their conscious working against them, right? Where they're just like, hey, like they know what they're saying is like just weird and just wrong, but it's just like, hey, like clicks, content, views, like it's just what's gonna get people clicking and just watching their stuff. And I think it's really sad because it's like, hey, you're pushing against like kind of what God has instilled in you already. Where it's like
Mm.
you know the truth, right? Like Romans 1, like, hey, like people know the truth, right? But by our unrighteousness, we suppress the truth, and it's like we just say anything, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it evolves into the red pill content. Just saying like, hey, like they're saying pretty good, they're saying pretty good stuff, but eventually they just twist it for whatever reason they want, mainly for their own benefit and gain, basically,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So my biggest issue with it, right? Sorry to cut you off, but
No, you're good.
I just want to say before I forget it. Yeah, my biggest issue is on one end of the spectrum, you have people saying, "Oh, the women should be up," but yeah, at the cost of men being down. And then on the other extreme opposite, we're like, "Oh, men should be up and women should be down." And it's like, bro, I feel like it's just so extreme. Like it doesn't need to be that extreme, you know? It's like we're so
Mhm.
close to actually we're like dancing around the truth when we talk about these more like identity type political kind of arguments. I
Yeah,
don't want to say identity politics, but like so you know, like politics around identity.
yeah,
I'll recoin the terminology, you know, like yeah, it's almost as if like yeah, we just want to debate about our identities, you know, and it's like this weird sense of ad hominems where it's like straw man argument after straw man argument. You have to pick one and or the other. You know, it's not you can't have multiple nuances to a discussion. Like it just doesn't exist, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. I think this is a tip or a point on the Tim Ross clip that I posted the other day with him talking about pornography and lusting and how men like are the actual problem to it, right? Because it's like he was saying like, hey, if you don't click on that stuff, then there's no porn industry, right? If you don't go down the alley to mess with that prostitute, then that prostitute gets off the street. And he was initially getting at, hey, like men are the people that are supposed to protect the women, but it seems like we only now like society only views women as this sense of like pleasure for men, which it shouldn't be that way, right? Ultimately, men are protectors of women, right? Like, and we're taking to a Christian worldview. Adam was supposed to protect Eve, but because of the fall, we see that everything's all distorted now. And pretty much, I thought that was really good because I'm like, yo, like that's really true. It's like, yo, like would this world be different if men had this sense of accountability before a holy God saying like, hey, like this woman is made in the image of God, therefore I should look at her and treat her and see her valuable with intrinsic worth and not worth a look upon with my eyes in any type of way or try to use her for my own sort of like sexual satisfaction. It's like how different what the world would be. And this isn't to say that like women don't struggle with lust or anything like that. That's reality. That's a thing that's there, right?
Yeah.
Particularly adjusting the conversation with Tim Ross. I was like, wow, this is really good. Like people need to hear this, and of course, like people get pushback. It's like, oh, it's the woman, they have to like cover up and stuff. It's like, I'm like, okay, cool, but like ultimately, like if you're a Christian man, like speaking to Christian like men, if you're a Christian man, then you need to set a different standard for how you like want to view women or how you want women to be, right? It's like, okay, but if you don't want to see like women doing these things out in society, don't click on it. Don't just scroll mindlessly on Instagram and see like, oh, bet this looks good. Like, don't DM random women. I don't know, but it was really good. And you know, I think that does speak into like how men or the red pill at least like talks about how our society is moving backwards because they see that there are different, you know, the women empowerment, right? They're seeing it to an extreme where it's like, oh, like women pretty much want to degrade our society, and because women are not allowed to do A, B, and C, this is the reason that our society is moving backwards. I saw like an Abba and Preach video of I don't think she's red pill, but it was a woman that was pretty much speaking like, okay, the world would be better if women were just made to be wives and mothers, and they were like, women have more purpose than that. Like, yeah, like yes, like that's what they are, or I guess be, right? Not like naturally, but it's just like, hey, like if you just degrade women to just wives and mothers, then like what sense of purpose are they going to have? And in essence, I was like, oh, we might be losing back. I think she also said it was like, if women lost the right to vote, then the world would be a better place. And I'm just like,
hey, yo,
I'm just like, yo, that's kind of weird. Like,
is society moving backwards though? You see what I'm saying?
No, like, I saw Instagram post of with the elections that are just happening, and that slavery was on the ballot, and I was like, is this a real thing? I was like, are we still doing this right now? Like, is slavery still on the ballot? Like, we're here, right, in 2020, and slavery is still on the ballot. Like, why is this here? Why is this still a thing? And I was like, yo, maybe are we moving backwards? I don't know.
I don't know, bro. So you know what I've been thinking all week about talking about on this podcast tonight, bro. I'm gonna get a little frisky here, bro. So I feel like when we talk about the devil, right? And I'm not a theologian, right? Or at least maybe not as yet, or something like that,
bro.
right?
Talk your talk, bro. Come on
now. I feel like it in the context of a society in America, right? It is easy to be an atheist in America because the context of demons and the devil and the enemy, he doesn't work in the same context. You know what I'm saying? Like the enemy in American context, he just has to like get you obsessed with yourself, right?
Okay.
it's other places in the world, they don't have the luxury of that type of spiritual warfare, right? They're, like, in other places in the world, they're fighting, they're fighting
Yeah.
demons on a daily basis, like they're struggling with very overt demonization, right? And I'm gonna say I coined this term because I've Googled it. I haven't heard anybody talk about it, so at least I got a timestamp, right? I think that the enemy works in a way of covert demonization.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
So in a, the enemy is an accuser, right? He's a liar, right? The devil, all he can really do is lie. That's all he can do in our society. So what he does is that he just lies to people. He gets them distracted from God, gets them distracted from the truth, Jesus, and as long as he can keep you distracted from Jesus and keep you occupied with yourself, then he essentially can keep you away from Jesus, Well, not obviously, not theologically. That's wrong. He can't keep it. Grace is irresistible, right? It's irresistible. The devil has
Oh,
no power
that
over
man,
irresistible
that
grace.
man get into the doctrines of grace, bro. Come
Yeah,
on, now.
yeah,
Come to the
yeah. So
Muslim
so let
side.
me just clear that up before anybody gets that confused, right? The devil can't keep you away from grace if God has called you to it, right? But let's say you're a Christian, right? And I don't believe a Christian can be demonized, right? Like, I personally just don't believe a Christian can get a demon, right? But I believe a Christian can struggle with spiritual warfare.
Mhm.
And how does that look in our day-to-day life? He gets you, the devil is going to try to get you distracted with your work, get you distracted with your spouse, arguments in your household, get you occupied with a bunch of different hobbies, right? Get you full of your own self. It's a sort of covert, like, spiritual warfare, bro. Like, you sometimes most people don't realize they're in spiritual warfare. Most people will not realize that, oh, I'm not focusing my time on Jesus. And
Mm,
if they're an atheist, it's just the easy way around it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh, I don't really have to deal with that. That's not
yeah.
real. That's not real. And in the American context, it's very simple to say it's not real. And I'm not saying that as an absolute, but I'm saying that pretty generally, right? Like, it's easy to say that. But in the other parts of the world, it's not as easy to say that,
Yeah.
people are literally fighting demonic forces overtly. It's not something that's hidden, and it's not talking something that's like people are arguing about. we
Mm,
we literally have arguments about that in the church today. Oh, is spiritual warfare actually happening?
mm. Yeah, yeah. So pretty much it's like demonization is happening subtly in the American context with there's everyday distractions basically. It's just everywhere we go, what we're doing in our daily time. It's like like in a sense, like what you could be saying is like social media could be one of
Social
those
media.
things.
Yeah, no,
Could be,
that was my example in my head when I was thinking about this week. Social media is a prime example of that.
yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, man, and I think in a way it could be woven into this conversation about our society going backwards because people could see that, right? Like especially in a election year, political year, whatever. Like people could automatically see like, hey, like the other side is demonic for whatever reason they may put out there. And in that way, we get distracted. Like, and I think I see what you're saying, where Satan like sows those little seeds of like distracting us from like what really matters. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, bet, do you worship or are you on the side of the donkey, or are you on the side of the elephant? It's just like Christians get so caught up into these little vices where we don't notice we're being distracted by who we actually should be giving our allegiance to, right? And it's like, this is why, you know what I mean? And it seems simple, but it's like, yo, Satan is he's crafty, you know what I
Bro,
mean?
I
Like,
was having a crazy conversation with Grace about this today, bro. Literally, it's that American society is so individualized that you just have to get people to think about themselves in the moment. That's why with politics, people get so binary with their thought process, because it's
mhm,
like, oh, this politician represents me more. So
yeah,
I will represent this party because this party represents me more, right? It's always a
Yeah.
me mindset. Same thing with all of the like the division, racial division and things. People only see themselves, you know.
Mhm.
There like there was this great ministry that I'm not going to mention right now because it's controversial and this and that, but it got shut down I think last year or something like that, and it was all about showing people other people, like showing them how other people, what other people have to do, deal with and live, and how you have to minister to those types of people group, contextualization of the gospel, right?
You think I shut down?
We ain't gonna get into that, but yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about, but yo, we gonna talk off here, bro. We gonna talk
Okay,
off
go.
here. Yeah. But it's because you know the arguments in the church, outside the church, in society, they're largely binary. We think pretty much binary in America because we're so individualized. The
Mm,
quickest thing to represent us, we already align to it, you know. So
yeah.
I think
So
that's where a lot of it comes from.
got you. So with that, with you saying that, do you think like with people like with our society to be so individualistic, like there is subtle demonization, is our society going backwards? And I'm speaking in the context of like American like society, like every other society. I get the West. I
The
guess
West,
you could
right?
use
The
it like
West,
that.
right.
Like, Europe, like I guess in the Christian sense, like Europe has fallen, right? Europe that like they're in the dark, they're back in the dark ages. I guess there is no Christian worldview there. There are people there, right? But it's just not a Christian nation or a Christian space anymore. And America seems like it's going in that direction. Like, well, at least like a lot of Christians think it is. Is our society going backwards because of it not being Christian anymore, or is it just going backwards because for some other reason?
Well, I guess when you ask it like that, I feel like from the Christian perspective, it is going backwards, right? If a lot of what we believe in, and a lot of our society was based on Christian beliefs, and that's kind of changing. I guess it is going backwards, right? Away from Christian beliefs, and that might be a victory for some people somewhere, right? But
Yeah,
us as Christians, it's causing a lot of division inside the church and outside the church, right? um it seems like a lot of things, right? Like a lot of these organizations popping up and just trying to help in a way are causing a lot of damage somehow, right? Like there was a very popular organization, something I'm not going to name because I'm not
yeah,
trying to
we want all
get
smoke, bro. Come on now,
yeah,
we want
no.
the clicks and views. This is what we about. It's like, no, I'm kidding.
There's a certain organization that they had a great message, man, and they were doing some really good work. But when you read it, they had beliefs against the nuclear family. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Mm,
how is
uh,
that beneficial? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is that beneficial? Like, a child. Obviously, not everybody's going to have both parents in the house, right? And I'm not saying anything like it is what it is, right? But two parents in the house raising a child is the best possible, two parents trying their best to raise a child, let me say it that way, right? is
yeah,
is is like the best situation for a child's upbringing, you know what I'm saying? Two
mm,
parents, two good parents are better than one, you know.
yeah,
And obviously, it happens, right? It definitely does happen, and it is what it is. But it's like it's almost as if society is glorifying things like divorce. Society is
mm,
glorifying co-parenting. And again, I know there's people gonna come for me, but if you have to co-parent, it is what it is. But that's not the optimal situation for a child, you know.
no,
The optimal situation is two parents in the house, and it's like that's almost, those kind of things are almost like unheard of now, you know what I'm saying? Like especially in our generation, like I feel like co-parenting is more of an optimal thing. And again, this is just an example of one thing, and I've seen in society that's like we're just going back, you know. It's like it's not really helping, you know.
got you. So, I playing devil's advocate, right? Some people will push against that, right, and say that the norms and stuff that were in place, right, that are now being done, like the nuclear family, like glorifying divorce, like sexual promiscuity is being glorified like crazy right now. Some
Yeah.
people would say that, hey, like these norms and stuff that were set in place like back then was
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of white men that were trying to be in power.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
now they're being undone, so now it's being in a better place. Some people would say that, hey, like this place, this society was never a great place, right? It never was in a place of like
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
of greatness, right? So now like some people look at it as like they're going forward into a better future because of the norms and stuff that they're now putting in place,
yeah,
which
yeah.
like there's a lot of pushback there. You know what I mean? It's just so like I guess some pushback to that. What would you say to those people that are like, oh no, like we're going to a better direction than the white people or white men that like established this country? Like, what would you say to that?
So I was actually gonna pose that same exact question to you.
Come on now, we thinking the same,
Yeah,
bro.
I was literally thinking the exact same thing. I don't know. I guess we just gotta wait till time plays it out. I don't know, man. I feel like I don't know. I'm not saying every Christian is excellent, but I feel like with this excellence mindset that we have in the Christian space, um, I feel like a lot of times I see people having a better standard of living, the quality of
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
You see children literally growing up happy, you know what I'm saying? Like
mm,
not all the time, but I mean, I guess this is pretty anecdotal because it's from my experience. And I could be wrong. But I don't know, maybe things have always been bad.
yeah,
Maybe we were younger and we didn't notice.
mm,
Um and we were just too oblivious. We were too caught up in our own little small worlds as
mm,
kids. And maybe because you and I aren't that old, bro. We're only like 25.
yeah,
So we're like really now experiencing life in a global context, right? Where we can, kind of really take in our own perspectives on things. So maybe the world has always been like this.
yeah,
And maybe we're just noticing it now. But I don't know, for some reason I feel like I've been a little vigilant in my life, and I feel like things have changed a lot, and
yeah,
especially in the last like 7 years, bro.
yeah.
7, 8 years, like things have changed a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think to say that like our society is going backwards, I think is like an overstatement by people
Okay.
that are trying to get people to listen to them.
Yeah,
Right? I
yeah.
think we are
Subscribe to the pod.
we we are way better than we were like I don't know 50 years ago.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we're way better than we were 100 years ago. Like think about it, like I wouldn't like a lot of people that I have that I'm friends with right now. I probably wouldn't be able to be friends with them, right?
Yeah,
Like 100
yeah.
years ago, 50 years ago, most likely would not be friends with them, right? As far as like being able to get into the free market, like that's a great thing. Despite the economic crisis that we're in right now, I guess
Mm.
if you're in one, like we still have possibility to get into the free market. You could do whatever you want
Yeah, yeah.
in a sense, right? Like no cap, and this is promoting this platform, right? But literally, you become a millionaire off of OnlyFans, bro. Free market, bro. Like
Word.
literally, you have access to like certain things, or we have access to certain things that back then those people didn't have. So it's
Word.
like to say that we're moving backwards as a society, I think is like an overstatement. There are
Yeah,
some
yeah.
things that we need to work on, right? There are some things that are going to take progress, but like that's just like with any sinful society. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
and I
Yeah.
think again it comes down to the nuance of things, right? Like maybe a lot of things have gotten better and a lot of things have gotten worse. It's just what's going to happen. I feel like um we have to I feel like a lot of times we have a utopian mindset and
Mm,
we want a utopia because our hearts crave to be with Jesus, right? Our hearts really do crave Christ and obviously sin clouds that and we reject him until his future coming glory, but when you become a Christian and you're becoming in this process of sanctification, you have a heavenly longing, right? um
mhm,
and to an extent non-believers have this same craving for utopian society, and I feel like a lot of people want a utopian society, but it's almost as if just sin clouds it, and it's like if you're not grounded on a standard objective truth, how are you even going to understand what that utopian society looks like? And that's where
mm,
our society gets in the big arguments, because it's like, well, then how do a lot of people are like saying like, how does the Christian knows what they say is the object standard of God, like how do you guys know it's true? And I think that's really where the pushback is coming from.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think like, man, our hearts long to be with Jesus. That's really good. I think, yeah, like God, Ecclesiastes, God has put eternity in every man's heart, and I think like some like everyone wants to,
Mm.
everyone want. I think whether they know it or not, like people want God, right? Like they want something to fill their hearts, right? Because we like the reason why we're trying to like make for a better society is because we believe that hey, like everything that's in this world right now is not the way it should be, right? Like I think if people have put like America as this place is like it's the greatest place on earth that everything you can make your dreams come true, like everything happens here. This is the land of the free, home of the brave. It's like that's cool, and that like we like as an American citizen, like yeah, like I believe all that, right? But like to view it as this place that has always been great and has not had any sort of moral faults whatsoever. Just look at the history, bro. Like
Word.
that, I think a lot of the reason why people are so upset and I mean not in a political like side or anything like that, but a lot of people that like push back against like not promoting like actual American history of what we actually dealt with is it's because like I guess if you want to see America as this place is like has always been great, and now you're viewing that as like hey like because people are doing that now we're moving backwards. It's like probably not. Like we probably should be sharing those things with people with young people to let them know that hey this is what like hey like although this place is great, this is the sin of our history. You know what I mean? And like that's the reality of every nation. Like we all have things like, or we all have done things, or every country has done things that is not is
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not godly, right? It's sinful, right? Like you can't compare the kingdom of God to America, bro. It's just not the same,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think a lot of people look at it that way as like, hey, this is God's place. God bless America. God redeem America. And it's just like I heard this from a podcast the other day. Is that like a lot of people try to put America as like Israel, and it's just like
Mm.
America was never Israel. America, like, and he said like this, like America and the whole world is Babylon. And it's like that's a reality. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like we live in a sinful place, and as Christians, like, how do we operate in a society that like is sinful? Right? Do we view it as like, oh, it's moving backwards and we complain about it, or do we do something to fix it? You know what I mean? And I think like, yeah,
That's kind of where the conversation had ended up pretty much going. Like what I actually came down to was like it really it's really just always going to be sinful, like regardless if it's getting worse, if it's
yeah,
getting better, it's always going to be sinful, like that's kind of why like recently, like in the last like 2 years, I would say I really kind of slowed down with politics. Like
mm,
I voted last week, and that was about it. I didn't even
yeah,
tell anybody who to vote for. People usually ask me, oh, who to vote for, this and that. I'm like, honestly, bro, just do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? At this
yeah,
point, like, because at the end of the day, it's like, it's like our own ideals. All right, society itself, right? It's in this chaotic system, right? Like where everything is just unpredictable in society, right? So how do you live? How do you try to come up with solutions for things that are pretty much unpredictable? You have
mm,
to create approaches, right? You have to create approaches. You can't create a solution because you might be creating a solution that's a bigger problem, right?
yeah,
In terms of like talking macro sense society, right?
mm,
Um, and but when you're thinking big picture, it's like you really just gotta try. Society really just has to try things out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it
yeah,
does, it does. Like it's like, how do I know if I vote for this person, the world's gonna get better? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
How do I know if I vote for this person, the world's gonna get worse? There's really no actual telling what can actually happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure there's people that voted for this president and previous presidents that the president did things that they didn't expect to be like when they casted their vote, right?
yeah,
And that's just the fact of reality with like society, right? Like, we as Christians have a moral compass that is the word of God, right? Um,
mhm,
and that's about it.
yeah,
There's really nothing else. You know what I'm saying? There's really
yeah,
nothing else to guide us. So I think Jesus gives a really good example of this, where it's like when you're talking about like when he says like give to Caesar what is Caesar's. um Jesus didn't say, oh, don't give to Caesar. He said give to Caesar, follow your earthly authority. But and then the book of Acts, we see this level of authority where the apostles say, you follow the word of God and your authorities, right? You don't
mm,
just blindly follow authority without consulting the word of God.
yeah,
And I'm glad that they made that distinction, right? um And inside the church, I feel like that causes a lot of division. But on both ends of the spectrum, inside, outside the church, I've noticed that a lot of people have extreme views inside, outside the church. But do you actually think that people believe some of these extreme views?
Mm.
Like, just think about the most outrageous thing you've heard in politics and media and social media, anything, right? Just think about the most obscure views, the very, very minute group of people here and there that have certain very obscure views. Do you actually think when those views become a little bit more mainstream, people are actually believing it, or they're just believing it to be part of something, I guess,
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think people mostly are they're believing it to be a part of something, right? I think it's a rarity, like when people believe something to the point where they're living out in their daily life, right? But like mostly, like I think they really just believe it, yeah, just to be a part of something, right? I think ultimately, like, hey, like we like I think there is like good intention of like, hey, like there's something wrong with our society right now. We want to do something about it. And how can we do something about it? Oh, you see this person doing this way, and you, like, I guess in a way align more with that person, especially if you're a Christian. It's like, oh, bet this person aligns more. But I feel as though this person aligns more with the Christian worldview, so I'm gonna go for that person. And it feels like oh, bet then now I'm a part of something. Now this person is a signpost or the leader for making this society a better place. I think ultimately, like, if it's like if this person wins or if this idea wins, it's like ultimately, like, yeah, I was on it first. Like I was the one that helped be able to make the society a better place if that person wins anything, basically. I think it's the reason why we had so many people like vote for Trump, because it's like, although he was a horrible person, right? Like we're all horrible people. Like we're just simple, our hearts are sinful, right? We're gonna get that distinction right there, right? But like, although he's a horrible person, a lot of people were like, hey, he aligns more with our values, right? And because like it like seems like he may be a Christian, he says he's a Christian, like his lifestyle doesn't match up with it. I'm gonna align more with him and his party and put a MAGA hat on and a Trump shirt on, because he aligns with what I want to see the society to be like. And it's like, okay, like I think okay, he may align with what you think you believe in, but it's like, are you willing to compromise your morality for the sake of seeing this quote unquote society you want to see built into this country, or whatever? And that's a question like everyone has to wrestle with themselves, right? I think not even just on a right side or the left side, but I think just in general, right? It's like when we go in our daily lives, it's like when we make decisions, are we willing to be able to compromise our morality for the sake of what we want to see in our worlds or in our lives, basically? And that goes for our marriage, that goes for what we see on social media, what we do on our social media, and everything like that. You know what I mean?
So yeah, bro. I think a good example of this is like the pro-life versus pro-choice topic, right? And I'm not going to get into what I believe on that or whatever, but what I've noticed
Come
is
on,
like,
Chad. It's for the views, bro. Come on now.
people that are pro-life, are you actually going out and giving money to these pregnancy centers? Are you volunteering your time? And people that are pro-choice, are you volunteering your time to Planned Parenthood? Are you actually going out and maybe donating to them? You know what I'm saying? Like, are people at that level where they are going to commit to what they believe in? Or are they just saying it like, are they just literally saying it? Because it's like, I feel like people get very passionate about things, but it's like majority of time I feel like people don't do anything. They really don't do anything for what they actually say. They just get angry about it. Just kind of get angry about it, and that's the end of it right there.
I think about the Great Commission, right? When like you see people like online on social media that they're really upset that like, like you see just the new age, or you just see like sort of demonic stuff or the spiritual stuff going on, and it's like they're really upset about it. Be like, wow, our country, our society is now going into this type of space. And it's like, yes, okay, like the world's always been like that. There has always been influential spirits, religions around us, right? But we believe that we have the truth, right? That we have this objective truth that Jesus came down to die for sinners, God in the flesh, coming down to reconcile the world to himself. And it's like, okay, we have that truth. Are we willing to go out into the world and proclaim that? And I think I see a lot of people like, this is just from my vantage point. It's like a lot of people are upset about it, but what are you actually doing about it? You know what I mean? It's like, are you actually willing to go out to your neighbor like your homie, your friend that like believes in like this new age red pill manosphere stuff, and like you could be upset about it on social media. You know what I mean? You could be upset about social media, but are you actually going to engage with him and confront him and be like, hey, like what I think what I think you're talking about, what you're believing, I think is wrong. Like, let me show you what like Jesus actually says about this, right? And I think like if we're in the business of making the world a better place, like the Great Commission, right? Like the Great Commission, go in the world and make disciples of all nations, bro. And it's like, if that's Jesus' plan to make the world in a sense like, or to bring the King God on earth, why shouldn't we be participating in it? But I think a lot of what we see is like people just being upset and just being like, wow, this is the reason why this is like, go out and be the change you want to see in the world, bro. I.e., go and preach the gospel. Like that, I think that's what will make the world a better place in a sense and
That
move our
man said he
society
did
forward.
support raising in Brooklyn, bro. There ain't no excuse.
No cap, bro. New York City, it's very easy. It's very easy to be or very hard or easy to be in New York City and to be like, wow, this world, it sucks. It's going down in the hell in a handbasket. Like it's just not getting any better. It's very easy to see it like that when you're in New York City because there's just so much going on in the city. You have a lot of beauty within the city, but then you have a lot of darkness that comes with it as well. And very often you can see like, hey, the light is fighting against the darkness, right? Like there are Christians, there are believers that are going out to the world preaching the truth of the gospel, and very obviously you can see that the forces of darkness are fighting against that.
Yeah.
I.e., why I think a lot of people don't want to come to New York City. I think that's just the reality of just like you see the wickedness and the sinfulness of the world right in front of your eyes, and like instead of you going out into the city and trying to be, trying to proclaim the gospel and be like, hey, the truth of the gospel can set these people free. It's way easier just to sit on social media and be like, wow, this world is sinful. Like it's way easier to do that. You know what I mean? And like, let me stop going on my rant, bro.
So, bro, I'm gonna put these two questions in one, right? I'm gonna pose them to you, right? Should we be intense with our ideology? And intense, I mean I don't mean intense I mean intense like believe following through with and standing up for things that we believe in, things that are beneficial. Should we be intense with our ideology, and do you think Christians really are at the forefront of actually being doers of what they say? Are Christians at the forefront of the mentality, or are Christians contributing to this kind of like paradoxical mentality where it's like, I believe this, but I don't want to do this,
That's a very good question. I think, in a theological realm, right? Like I think because of Jesus' church, and that he said that the gates of hell will never prevail against it. I think ultimately, like, hey, the church is like at the forefront of this, right? Regarding whatever different issues, right? I think the church has always been at the forefront of these different things, right? I think I get honestly, I get so upset when people are like, the church has never been doing anything, but it's like, there are a lot of churches around that are actually doing stuff, feeding the neighborhood. They're helping out single mothers, stuff like that. And it's like, in Rome, in the first century, when Rome would throw their babies out into the outside the city, Christians would go get them, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, the reality is that Christians are always at the front. It just doesn't seem that way because it's the popular way to view it. You know what I mean? It's like, bet like Christians don't do this, right? But you have this group over here that is like probably anti-Christian. They're doing these things that Christians say they're not doing. And honestly, I think that's because it's an amplified social media that like you have things that are like promoted that probably aren't Christian, that they're like, oh, they're doing a lot of good in the world, but then like Christians and it's like, oh, bet like now these Christians aren't doing this, like, hey, you shouldn't believe in them. It's like, no, like, like the church has always been doing stuff. It's just because of social media, you don't see it. Like, and I think social media makes the world so much of a smaller place that like, you don't get to view like what people are doing on the outside, right? Like if you go to
it's backwards, bro, because social media is supposed to be exposing that, giving
bro,
us that.
Honestly, I think
you see where this conversation's coming back to, bro.
I think ultimately the church is going. I think the world is going forward, right? Our society, I don't know. Honestly, I can't tell you what the society is going to come into or what's going to happen. Like, honestly, like we might be dead and gone with Jesus whenever the society crumbles, bro. I don't know. But I think the hope for us, for the Christians, should be like, okay, bet like our citizenship is in heaven, and God has promised that one day he's going to make all things new and restore everything, right? I think ultimately, like God's kingdom, like it's coming to earth and it's extending. I think ultimately we're progressing forward. To be
Yeah,
honest,
yeah.
like the society, like non-Christians may not look at it that way, where it's like, or we're taking in the red pill. That's like, yo, they may not look at it that way because there are certain things that go against the red pill theology. But Jesus is establishing his church. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Jesus is doing what he does, and like honestly, like God, Jesus is sovereign ruler. He's going to do whatever he pleases, and
Yeah,
like it's going
I
to progress
think
forward.
I think yeah, there's definitely aspects in society that is still progressing forward. Like in that song where it says the world's not falling apart, it's falling into place.
Mhm.
I think that's definitely that's big facts, right? Like God has already planned everything, right? But I just feel like there's just certain things that really are like not not progressing, you know, like so,
Yeah.
something is an example how they say like our generation of males produce less testosterone than our dad's generation, um
Yo, I never
because
knew
of
that.
bro, because of the I think it was the parabens or the fragrances in our soaps, and no one ever talked about that, right?
Yo, that's
So
wild.
bro, so and then you think about that little tiny minuscule like thing, and it's contributing to like extended adolescence, men not taking care of their babies, like all this kind of crazy stuff happening in our society. And I'm like, yo, like, and like things like that. I feel like are definitely getting like going backwards. So it's like there's definitely things that I feel have been, but for the macro sense of this argument, yeah, I gotta agree with you here, where it's like society is moving forward because God has a plan, right?
Yeah,
Like
no,
nothing is going against God's plan, right?
yeah, yo, I want to agree with you. Like, yo, I think, yo, and stuff like that, like this, the minuscule things, right? Like, I think in a way we are going backwards, right? I think, extended adolescence, like, guys not leaving their homes and trying to find a passion to do stuff and actually work with their hands. I think like we are moving backwards in that way. Like honestly, like I could be like, oh, like yo, playing video games, like watching like all that stuff. I'm like, I do all that stuff though, so I'm not even gonna knock on them. But it's like, and like literally, you can turn those things into a career now, where you can be a provider of your family and your home by playing video games.
You'll follow me
And
on Twitch, bro. Hey,
yeah, which like I think in a way we could be moving backward. We could be moving backwards, but then I don't think it's moving backwards for long. I think it's probably extending into a different area where we have different sorts of
Ooh,
areas of
that's a
like,
hot take, bro.
like honestly, like if we're comparing like masculinity and stuff to the sense of like, I don't know, going out to a lumber yard and lifting up wood and making stuff with it. It's like, I guess that's the one way you could see it, but like you could be a provider of your home, a protector of your home by doing things like creating content, which most people, it's a booming space right now that people are taking advantage
Yo,
of,
stop playing
right?
with me, bro. I'm about to start knitting, bro. Chill
Bro,
with that,
bro,
bro.
yo, like literally, like, yo, bro, you can have, yo, for example, like that, you can have a knitting career, bro. Put it on YouTube, get it like 1,000+ likes, bro. It's like that. It's a
Nah, nah,
reality.
nah. I know I'm joking about it. I got a friend, bro. She really makes some decent money from knitting, bro. She sells online, bro. She really be making decent money, bro.
Yeah, bro, yo, like it's legit, bro. But I think in some ways like we are moving backwards. But I think God, like at the end of the day, He's restoring it as well. You know what I mean? I think
God
like
is
I
a
think
restorer. That's good. That's good.
bro, like I think our generation is more interested in God and spirituality than ever before. I think
Wow.
old heads don't see it that way, but like, yo, like it's a reality that people are interested in God and spirituality. It's just like how you want to approach it to them. You know what I mean? Like, and in that way, if we're talking about the next generation of males, right? It's like, what are the older men, like, i.e., like I guess me and you, right? Like, what can we do in order to like move men forward and to not
Oh, yo,
progressing backwards?
you're
You know what I
literally,
mean?
yo,
Like,
yo, wait. So this whole conversation came about with the manosphere not taking accountability, and feminism not taking accountability, new age feminism, right? And it being extreme opposite. And Elijah's brought this whole conversations back. He's like, yo, you want to point fingers at everybody else, but you're not pointing fingers at yourself, bro. Elijah, bro, I love you, bro. I love you, bro. That's all I
yo,
gotta say, bro.
bro,
You're
I guess
real
it's
for
not even
that,
a
bro.
call out. Yo, it's not even a call out on us. I mean, I can be right, but it's like, yo, I'm sure we got young dudes in our lives, right? Like, what can we do to pour into them to make sure that they're not in this way of progressing backwards, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
to
yeah.
not fall into the hands of the red pill, right? It's like, what can we do in order to like pour? Like, we got younger brothers, we got younger brothers that have friends. Like, yo, what can we do? And like, I'm sure, like, I'm not saying that we're not doing anything, right? But it's like, yo, we can do a lot more. And it's like, I think if people took that perspective of like, instead of like saying like, oh, instead of demonizing people and saying like, oh, our society's moving backwards and sitting on our hands and not doing anything, yo, get involved. You know what I mean? I think that's the only way that you can progress
Wow.
society forward. You know what I mean?
Wow, bro. You really, yo, this was that was a gem, bro. I swear,
Yeah.
bro. That was great. That I feel like is the crux of this conversation. Well, I don't know if crux is the right word, but that's like the binding agent in this conversation. Like, you ever made mayonnaise, bro? That's the
Yeah.
thickening emulsifier in this conversation, bro. Yo, Elijah really out here, bro. Why you think they named this man Elijah, bro?
Yo,
Why you
I'm
think they named this man Elijah, bro?
yo, I'm dead,
He was
bro.
born for this, bro. He was born for this, bro. Stop playing with that guy, bro.
Bro, yo, ultimately, bro, I think we coming up on an hour, but like, yo, what for Christians, like, what can we do? And like, to, instead of, should we just like complain and be like, hey, like the society's moving backward, things aren't the way they were, but like what can we do? What can we do to, I guess, progress society forward?
So, yeah. So as you said, we get involved. But I guess we really have to look at what exactly we're trying to progress forward, right? And us as, I guess, Gen Z, late millennials, I guess Gen Z, right? We're Gen Z. Um, Gen Z, like, we've been through a lot, bro. I
Yeah.
think I I know old heads will be like, oh, we don't know anything because they fought in World War II and Vietnam, and although those things must have been very difficult, and I'm not taking away from that at all. I am saying, like, we had a different type of difficult, bro. Like, we had people who've had significant generational trauma because our grandparents' generation, like, really messed mentally with our parents' generation, right? We have people who went through incredible breaking generational drama and trauma, and we had we survived the whole COVID
Hmm.
thing, right after we graduated college, right? Like, we just
Crazy.
started living, bro. Like, we literally just started living and this happened, right?
Hmm.
And we there's so many different things, like, our generation has just been through literally a lot, right? Like in the last few years, and it's not as easy as like life was for people 40 years ago, right? Like, to get started, to move out, maybe we're being harsh, right? Like, to get started, to move out, things are a lot more difficult, so maybe we aren't moving backwards at all. Maybe we're at this point where it's like things are just very difficult,
Mm.
and people are just struggling to move forward. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not that they're moving backward, but as you said, it's a temporary stop. Maybe it's a pause right now, and society will have this great upward trend in everything. Um, right after. And I guess, yeah, we just have to look at what we're actually talking about, because I know we kind of bounced around
Yeah.
from identity politics to regular politics to manosphere. Like, I know we talked about so many different things in here, so I guess it really just comes down to what we actually are talking about. But if we're talking macro sense of society and moving forward, I think people have to have a heart for other people.
Mm.
I think that's the biggest thing, because I feel like when society understands the next man, um, it's just a little bit easier, When an employer cares for his employees, it's a little bit better for them, right? When a husband cares for a wife, the wife's life is just a little bit better, right? When the pastor cares for the congregation, the church life is just a little bit better, right? When people, I think the word is empathy. When people show empathy for others, and they step out of their way
Mhm.
to help the other man, society moves forward. And the greatest example of that is Jesus, right?
Mm.
Jesus went out of his way for the other man, right? At the expense of his own self, right?
Mm.
So I think if we follow that model of caring for the next man, um, society will move forward, bro. Because you hear some of these incredible inspirational stories, and a lot of these people who are like the top of society and this and that, they said they only got there because one person stuck out for them. One person allowed them to get a break.
Mm.
You very rarely do you ever see like an artist at the top of the line say they did it all on their own. They all
Yeah.
in their come up story. They all say, "Oh, this person gave me a break. They took a chance on me." Like if it wasn't for this person, I wouldn't be here. Like Pro Era, right? The whole Pro Era records, like Johnny
Mm.
Shipes, took a chance on Joey, right? And put all
Mm.
those Pro Era people on, right? He just saw a
Yeah.
video of him online. Like, just an example, like if society kind of moves away from the selfish like motivation, and we really started caring for other people, things would get better, bro. Things would definitely get better. Move away from our individualized kind of thinking, and think more like, oh, maybe I should take care of my parents. Maybe I should. My parents shouldn't take care of me. Maybe I
Mm.
should be taking care of my parents. Like my parents fed me and clothed me for what 23 years, 24 years of my life. Maybe it's my turn to turn around and be like, oh, let me pay for your dinner. Oh,
Yeah.
let me take you out. Oh, let me pay your car insurance this month. Oh, let me pay your electric bill this month. Something like that. Let me buy you groceries so you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's a step in progress in terms of macro sense. I guess what we found out in this conversation is, if we talk about the micro sense of this conversation, we'll kind of just run around in circles. Because things have gotten better, things have gotten worse. Things have got, we
Yeah.
kind of played the game, but yeah, I think if we shift it to the macro sense, yeah, man, we just have to be very selfless, just like Christ.
Yeah, no, I like that, man. I think just on that same note, it's like, yo, just serve other people, love other people, like, right, embody Jesus, right? Philippians 2, like, he didn't count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but he emptied himself as a servant. Like, that's like, I think that should be what we should be doing, right? No matter where we are, you know what I mean? I think like we get this perspective of like, yo, we're only going to serve Christians and be nice to Christians, or just be kind to Christians, and it's like, no, like that's the way you show the love of Jesus and point people to him, by loving on someone that is at odds with you, right? So it's like, and you do that spread out, like you don't do that together, right? Because I think it's very easy for Christians, for us to just be together and be like, hey, the world is bad and against us and we can't wait for Jesus to come. It's like, cool, but Jesus ultimately wants you to go out and spread out and go love on people, share the gospel with people, right? And I think that's the only way that if we want to see a better society, go out, share the gospel with your neighbor, go love on your neighbor, go do stuff for your neighbor and point them to Jesus, because I think that's the only way. And I think that the only means by which like God's going to restore this world is by using men. You know what I mean? Like by no other means that God decided to, bring people to himself and stuff. It's like, he uses sinful people to go reach other sinful people, right? I think if we have that in mind, the world probably could be better, right? I don't want to the Christian like theology of doom and gloom that like, the world's going to get worse. In a sense, it is, right? But in a sense, it's also going to get better. It's like it's kind of like simultaneously like in the same spot. Like, hey, the world's getting worse. It's also getting better, right? God's kingdom is coming down. The world is getting worse, right? But ultimately, in the end, we know who wins, and I think we can rejoice in that and look forward to that.
Yeah, because the American life, bro, is significantly better than it was 300 years ago, 200 years ago. Word, bro. Yo, I got indoor plumbing, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Bro, I'm happy I'm not in chains, bro. I don't need to be.
Bro. Like, yo, all I'm saying is, bro, for real, bro. Like if you think 300 years ago, bro, like, yo, some people like his lives were difficult, bro. They were difficult. Like, people, that's a whole other topic in itself right there. But yeah, bro, we have like luxuries, bro. We're on a computer, we're talking on a microphone with an internet connection and a webcam. Like, we have luxuries in this life, in this society. So it's like things have definitely gotten better, bro. We got clothes. We can go to thrift stores. You could buy brand new clothes. We could throw out clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're at a level where we're so much more blessed than not everyone, but like majority of the rest of the world, right? So yeah, man, I think that we should definitely start counting our blessings more. Maybe being grateful might help us avoid these types of conversations.
So pretty much the next time you feel like society's going backwards, look at the new iPhone 14 you just got and be like, wow, we progressing a long way.
Yo, I still got a XR, bro. I'm oppressed, bro.
Hey, yo, I'm dead. This is the Sinners Only podcast. Thank you guys for tapping with us. Out of nowhere, just dropped up. I don't know where he went, but we will catch you guys next week. Appreciate y'all.